Our God is faithful. Our God is faithful. Our God is faithful. She ibite tibere. She ibite made. Adukbe o Jesu. Ibite. She ibite
tibere.
Oh.
She ibite made.
Adukbe o Jesu. Ibite. Chuku de mao, no de mao, chanye de mao.
De mao.
Chuku de mao, no de mao, eze de mao. Ewo chuku de mao. Ewo chanye de mao. Ewo chuku de mao. Oh, de mao. Chuku de mao, no de mao, eze de mao. Chuku de mao, no de mao, chanye de mao. Ewo chuku de mao. Ewo chanye de mao. Ewo chuku de mao. Oh, de mao. Father, we thank you because you are a faithful God. We give you all the glory because there is none like unto you. There is none to be compared with you. You are the I am that I am, the beginning and the end. You know us better than we know ourselves. Lord, we thank you for this program. We commit it into your able hand. I've come before you not because I'm qualified, Lord, but because you want to teach me and teach your people how to become better persons within this topic that I've been assigned. I pray, Father, Lord, that at the end of this teaching, we will not only be hearers, we'll have the capacity to implement what you have taught us, that our lives might become much better in the precious name of Jesus Christ. Thank you, Father, because you are good. In Jesus' mighty name, we have prayed. You can jump those hands for Jesus Christ. I want to begin by appreciating this privilege. This is indeed a privilege. I've been here for about 3 years now as a member of this church. This is the first time I'm climbing this almighty pulpit. Can we clap for Jesus Christ? I hope this microphone is not doing me AI. I hope it's talking well. Can you hear me from the back? All right. I believe it's not an AI microphone. Also, I want to appreciate the organizers of this year program. I also want to appreciate our regional pastor here and other pastors in this very particular place. And many of my friends who are in the crowd, especially the youths. I've been asked to speak on a very important topic that says positioning oneself for opportunities, the academic pathway. My name is Professor Ijeoma Owamah. By God's privilege, the Deputy Vice Chancellor Academy of the Delta State University, Abraka. I want the media to assist me. I've been given 30 minutes so that I don't, if I'm spending more than the 30 minutes, it won't be more than 2 minutes, which will be like injury time. So we can be moving. Let's move into introduction so that the people can follow us here. Although I can speak to what is there, but if you use teaching aid, it's always better. Now, I want to move straight into the introduction by saying that indeed for every generation, God raises people. God raises people in every generation. If you look at the Bible from Genesis to Revelation, you will see that God only at one time did he send manna from heaven to feed people. At every other time, he used men to do or carry out his work and his miracles. Now, if you look at the land of Egypt, instead of Egypt to go into famine and it would have affected the land of Israel and neighboring countries, God raised Joseph at that material time. There was also a time that the Jews were in trouble, that God has to raise Esther. And then we also know that God at the time raised Daniel in the land of Babylon. to preserve that particular generation. And then he raised David in Israel. Today, God is looking for another generation, which is our generation, you and I generation. But the question is not whether opportunities exist. Indeed, even as much as we talk about Nigeria and we say no job employment, no opportunities, people are still doing well in this country legally. And the question now is, how come some persons are doing well and some others are not doing well? These are the things we want to look at this morning. Now, and I ask this question, are you prepared when opportunity comes? Because according to Abraham Lincoln, he said something. He said the child should study and be prepared for one day his opportunity would come. Opportunities are always coming every now and then, but how prepared are you to grab an opportunity when it comes? Indeed, no type of opportunity comes twice. If you have an opportunity today and you are not prepared for it, the next one that will come may not be exactly the one that you have missed. And so, how do we now prepare for this opportunity? We want to look at the academic pathways. And we say that education is one of God's greatest instruments for lifting people. And that we can see in the book of Proverbs 18, verse 6, which says that a man's gift maketh room for him. But many people quote this verse, but forget that gifts must be developed. Talent opens doors, knowledge keeps the door open. Why do I say so? It is very easy to quote that a man's gift maketh way for him. I know of someone who was very good at physics when we were in secondary school. Very, very good at it, but when we finished from secondary school, he refused to progress from there. He went into some kind of funny businesses, and thereafter started driving bus between Ibuzo and Asaba. And today, I don't know what he's doing again. So sometimes when we are talking, he would say that I used to be very good at physics. And one day he mentioned that in the midst of one of our friends like that. And the guy asked him, and I want to speak it in Ibuzo language, then I will interpret. Or say, Imaka physics, Ijeoma. I hope people understand this thing. You two know physics. What thing you take and do? Ijeoma. Physics that you stop at O level. Are you a physicist? Do you have an ordinary BSc in physics? Do you have an NC in physics education? And then you are saying that you are good at physics. You are not good at, in fact, you are as good as someone who didn't even attend a physics class. And so from that time onward, he stopped disturbing us that he used to be good at physics. And so it is not about having the talent. It is what would you do with this talent. And the only thing that transforms raw talent into useful talent is education. When we talk about education, we look at the formal education, the formal education, and the semi-formal education. Because if it is latent in you, if you look at the scripture very well, you see that there was a time a master was living and gave talents to his servants. And then gave one 5, gave another 3, gave another 1. But the one that had 1 buried that talent. What do you mean that? Did not make use of that talent because because if you don't know your way out of a city, your journey will weary you a lot. He didn't know what to do with it. He said the master was the wicked person. He buried this talent, and at the end of the day, that single one that he had was taken from him and was given to him that had much. I want to pray for you this morning. The talent you have will not be wasted in your life in the mighty name of Jesus Christ. If you have talent and you cannot use it, then you are as good as someone who hasn't talent. You cannot say that you're a very, very good mechanic and for every car you repair, it gets problem. They must take it to another mechanic workshop. Then you are not good. You can't say you are a good medical doctor and for every patient that comes to a hospital, there must be one negative report or the other. So what you can use now to refine your goodness or to refine the talent out of you is education. But unfortunately, I hear people say these days that education is a scam. But before I even progress, let me even know. If you are a student here, can you raise your hand? So I know the people I'm talking to. Can you raise your hand? Okay, let's take it this way. If you are a secondary school student, raise your hand. Secondary school. If you are an undergraduate, raise your hand. Okay. Now, you must know that I always tell people that the only thing that can take the poor man's child out of poverty sustainably is education. Because if you are not properly educated, you will certainly have issues that you wouldn't be able to solve tomorrow. Now, let's go on. When we now talk about academic excellence, what does it mean? It's not about getting first class at all. Some persons will think that it's about having a CGPA of 4.35 or 4.50 or CGPA of 4.89. That's what I'm here to teach you. I'm here this morning to tell you that when we talk about excellence in academics, we're talking about your ability to maximize your potential very well. Your ability to know what you are good at and to focus on it. For instance, we know some persons, you are not good at biology, you are not good at physics, you are not good at chemistry, and then you want to study medicine. At the end of the day, what kind of medical doctor are you going to become? You want to be a lawyer, you don't even understand English, you don't understand literature in English, you just want to read law by all means. And parents always do this thing. They want to push all of their children to study medicine, study law, and study accountancy. And at the end of the day, the child finishes, is unable to practice what he has learned. Now, I want to bring something to our attention that a degree may get you employment, competence keeps you employed. However, integrity makes you indispensable. So one of the reasons why you must look for excellence in education is that you pursue it with integrity. Somebody who did examination malpractice and sets for grade and then got a first class will at the end of the day not be able to prove. That's why you have a lot of first class people walking up and down without a job. It is the most, one day I saw someone who brought a CV to me that he needed a job. And I looked at the CV, he made 4.8. And then he has graduated in the last 6 years. And I was imagining, how could you have graduated in the last 6 years with a 4.8 and you are looking for a job in this particular Nigeria? So I asked him, what have you been doing with this 4.8? He narrated that he has no uncle, he has no auntie. They narrated that there is no politician in their family and all of those. And I started imagining, must it be a civil service job? So you mean that everybody who has gotten a job in this country got it through an uncle, through an auntie? So I settled down to tell him about my own story. But I don't even have an uncle, I don't have an auntie, I don't even have anything. In fact, as a matter of fact, if you put my family name in Google, the only reason why Owamah is not on the internet is because of me. Maybe if I weren't there would be nothing like Owamah in the internet. And so you do not really need to know everybody. If you really had a first class 4.8 in a course like accountancy that the person studied, how come by now you have not even done your professional examination to become ICANN registered? How come by now you have not done any kind of internship with any big organization in data or accountancy? How come you don't even go for the meetings of the organization and all of those things? So, and I told you that there's a problem with this your 4.8 because even those who have 2.2, they are doing far better than you are doing. So when we talk about excellence in education, we're not just talking about first class, because we have a lot of problems now these days. You come to school, everybody is in the university, but only a few know what they are doing. And that's why at the end of the day, you discover that you see somebody who has gotten a PhD, gotten a master, graduated. To write an ordinary memo is a problem. To speak English for 1 minute is a problem. And then you begin to hear two voices here from somebody who is a graduate. You begin to hear, I has money, and they has money. From a graduate. So these are the issues that, so when we are talking this, what we're talking this morning is not about grade. Please, can we move on, studio? It's not about grade, it's about what you have been able to acquire. So now academic excellence should be able to give you knowledge. That's the first one. How much do you know what you have read? You cannot claim that you have a degree in civil engineering and you do not understand the difference between a column, a beam, a slab. You do not even know what a foundation means. You cannot even do an ordinary design. And then you are looking for a job. Looking for a job to do what? Because that's where the problem is. You cannot claim that you have a degree in mass communication and you have not gotten a job. You cannot do freelance writing. You cannot even, nobody knows about you. You don't write anything. You cannot even write at all. And you have a 2-1 in mass communication. So knowledge matters a lot. And I always tell people, he that knows and he that does not know can never be in the same place. And this knowledge we are talking about is like software. And I always tell people, if you have a 1980 computer and you have a 2025 computer, and the 1980 computer has CorelDRAW software, the 2025 computer has no CorelDRAW software, then at the end of the day, that 2025 computer will not be able to perform a CorelDRAW assignment, not because the computer is not of a high grade, but because the software required for performing CorelDRAW is not there. And the 1980 computer will perform it. That is just what knowledge is all about. Knowledge is what distinguishes one man from another. And when you have knowledge, it attracts, it gives you the capacity to excel, even when the economy is blooming. I always tell people, most of the things that happened in my life has happened because the grace of God factor is there, the knowledge factor is there, and also the ability to do what I tell people that I can do. I remember, like for instance, my appointment as deputy vice chancellor, I always tell people this. In my university, For you to be a deputy vice chancellor, you must have been professor for 5 good years. 5 good years for you to be a deputy vice chancellor. So when the new VC came in, and then they were shopping for deputy vice chancellor, I knew I was not qualified because I was just 2 years old as a professor. I became a professor in 2022 at the age of 40. This incident was happening in 2024. And by the grace of God, that 2022, I became the youngest to ever become a professor in the whole Delta State University. I became the first professor of civil engineering in the whole Delta State University. And then, 2 years later, there was need for appointing the deputy vice chancellor. And so they looked at all the professors they have arranged, and they said, "This, you must have integrity, you must be knowledgeable, you must have served as director or dean," and all of those things. They looked at everybody. They couldn't really get it. And the only person who has these 5 qualities they have listed out is somebody who doesn't have up to 5 years as a professor. And so the elders met. In my absence, I was not even there. And they said, "This young man is very good, but he's very young. Should we now look for somebody who is not too good because the man is young?" So for the very first time in 33 years, a bill was moved on the floor of Senate to repeal the act that said that you must be 5 years old minimum as a professor for you to be appointed a deputy vice chancellor. And this was repealed 2 weeks to the nomination date. And so on the day of nomination, because it had been repealed, just because of one man, I was now selectable because it must be selectable to be nominatable, then to be appointed. And so that's what we're talking about. Now, if I have spent all my life fooling myself, saying I'm a lecturer, collecting 5,000 naira from students, looking for those to give me banga soup, and you will discover that you will go nowhere. How many banga soup will make you a deputy vice chancellor? How much 10,000 naira will contribute to give you the status that this office has accorded me? It's not possible. And today now, I am the youngest to attain deputy vice chancellorship in any Nigerian university to this date. That's what we're talking about. And remember, this is the child of a very poor man, of a very poor woman who has no mother herself, the only money given to me while I was in school was 10,000 naira that my mother borrowed when I got admission in 2022. Every other thing about me, how I graduated, how I did master, I did PhD, only God Almighty can tell about it. Because no other code will come from any human being, Christian or Muslim, pagan, military or civilian, black or white. But here you have children of the rich bowing to me today, receiving instruction, answering sir every day, and ensuring that they are in my good book every now and then. It can also be your portion. But you must radiate that confidence and that knowledge. You must be good at what you say you are doing. You cannot be studying physiology and graduate, and you don't know the difference between artery and vein. That will be a shame on you. You cannot say you are studying anatomy, you graduate, you know nothing about anatomy. And that's why I always tell, if you are close to me, if you are not academically serious, there's no way you can maintain that closeness. Because I know that the only thing that can take a poor man's child, like I said before, out of poverty sustainably is education. And that's why if you look at the ministry world also, you discover that the churches that are doing well today are churches that the founders or the general overseers are educated. RCG number 1, Christ Embassy number 2, Winners Chapel number 3, Mountain of Fire number 4. Mountain of Fire, the general overseer made a first class in microbiology from University of Lagos. Didn't do a master's, went straight to do PhD in the UK and had published nothing less than 63 articles before he was called into the ministry. Our daddy Gio has a PhD in mathematics. The founder of Deeper Life has an MSc in mathematics and was lectured in Unilag for a very long time. The question is the one founded around our houses by those who had only O level and those who thought education was a scam. Where are those churches today? Are you getting the understanding now? If you look at the scripture, you cover that the last disciple of Jesus Christ, who never even saw him, Peter, Paul, I mean to say, wrote most of the epistles we are reading today. And then he said, it is by grace. But grace without knowledge is a problem. Are you getting the understanding? You must be knowledgeable. So tell yourself, I must be knowledgeable. Let me tell you something. You see, there are 3 things. We need water as I'm talking. My voice cracks easily if there will be water. Okay, while the water is coming, studio, you can give me the slide again. So, knowledge is a very important tool. Knowledge is very, very important. And then, the next thing is confidence. But without knowledge, you cannot have confidence. What feeds your confidence is knowledge. What feeds your confidence is knowledge. Then, credibility. Credibility. When this selection was being made, people were asking questions. They looked at my credibility, they looked at the integrity profile, they looked at performance profile, and they had no choice but to struggle among themselves without me knowing. I didn't even know they needed me. I was just on my own when the call came. When I was not told that I was the reason why the law was being repealed. So you need knowledge, you need confidence, you need credibility, you need influence. You need influence, leadership opportunities, and then at the end of the day, all this culminate in making your financial opportunities to be very large. So education is one investment that everybody must make. It's one investment that you cannot shy away from. It's one investment. And let me tell you something. When I finished from school, because I'm asked to talk to you people using stories. Now, when I graduated from the university, to get a job had always been a problem in Nigeria. Is that not so? Can you hear me from the back? Yeah. To get a job has always been a problem. So I look around me and I saw that people who made a 2-1, made a first class, they were all around, they hadn't gotten a job. And so I told myself, what did they not do that I should do? So I told myself, let me just go for a master. Remember that the first degree, like I told you, I was only given 10,000 naira. I paid for hostel fee 3,300. I paid for school fees 5,600. The remaining 1,000 plus after 2 weeks, there was no money again. And so we continued to do extramural classes there in Owerri in order to be able to finish up. Please, just 1 minute, let me take water so you can hear my voice well. A man without confidence will not like to take water. He will think that taking water, people will get angry. So that's the confidence we are talking about. Can I go on? He's a faithful God. I will not tell you what he told me. So now, like I was saying, because you need to hear this story. That's why I was called to tell you the story. I've told you so many times, just to encourage you. Now, my mother borrowed this 10,000 naira and gave to me. And then within 2 weeks, it had finished. That didn't mean that I should come back to Ibuzo and then continue the poverty line. So what did I do? I had to start teaching in extramural classes to be able to survive 100 level in Futo, to be able to survive 200 level up to final year. I will teach. Sometimes you will teach in more than one school. Once the student close, you teach a lesson at the lesson center, you teach a lesson center here so that they can give you money to survive. We graduated, we went for NYC. So what was the NYC? I was not thinking about my life. How do I really go about this thing as a first son? Should I come back and start cooking beans in our house? And then I have 5 younger ones, and all of them are classically intelligent. So I said no. That the best thing I can do now, since people are around, they don't have a master's degree, that could be their problem. So I decided to buy a master's degree from my University of Port Harcourt. And then we went for that master. I can tell you about knowledge because that's what is helping me today. Even if this is the only thing you hear and we don't read the slide, that will be okay for you. And so I went for that master's in University of Port Harcourt. And then in going for that master's at the University of Port Harcourt, I could not pay my school fees. I could not pay hostel fee. So what I did was I was just schooling. And when they said the exam was to come, I went to a money lender to borrow 300,000 naira to be able to pay the fees because it had not accumulated. And then the man said he would only give it to me if I have a landed property or a collector. And there is no father, there is no land, there's nothing at all. My father had already divorced my mother when I was in JS3 and the 6 of us. So you can't go back to him. It's not possible at all. He does not even know we exist. And so the only thing I could do that time was that my fiancée, whom I was dating, I have to present as a collector to collect the school fees. And so, but thank God I married her. So I presented as a collector to collect the school fees, and I was giving the school fees on 20% interest. And so I didn't even know what 20% interest meant. I just wanted to do the master's. And so I ran back to Uniport and registered for the master's. But the next thing is, where do you live? So our lectures were Mondays, Thursdays, Fridays, and Saturdays. So because there was no place to live, I missed all Monday lectures. And that was Professor Otaraku's lecture. And then on Fridays and Saturdays were the lectures. So what I was doing was, I would teach extramural class in Ibuzo on Monday, on Tuesday, on Wednesday, and on Thursday. I would teach mathematics, English, physics, chemistry, biology, economics, and government, 20 naira. So, and I had bouncers. So once you come in, after government, we wipe the board. If you don't need economics, you go. If you need economics, we pay 20 naira too. After economics, we wipe the board. We go into chemistry, and then we go into physics. So I will do this Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. And to raise the money that will take me to Port Harcourt on Friday, because lectures start 10 a.m. in Port Harcourt. And so on Friday, I will leave Ibuzo by 5 a.m. to make sure that I get to Port Harcourt at least 10 a.m. or 10:30 a.m. And then we'll do the class till 4 p.m. And then by 4 p.m. we'll finish the class. I will return to join undergraduate students in the hall where they are reading. They call it Awoko, those who read in real life. So, and they thought I was 24, 25 years that time. So they thought I was an undergraduate. I would just join them. And so all of us will be there reading till daybreak. And then I'll bring out my toothbrush, brush my teeth, move straight back to the class for Saturday class. I'll finish Saturday class, move to Waterline, take a vehicle from Waterline to Asaba. Get to Asaba around 11 p.m. and then move to Ibuzo by maybe 12 midnight. And that was what I did for 1 full year throughout 2008. I never slept in Port Harcourt for 1 day, and I did a full-time program in my master's. And I was still the best student in the department, best in the faculty, and best in the university. So some other person would have said, oh, my parents don't have. Are you getting the understanding? Because that's the issue. But I knew that without this thing, you see, one thing about life is that until you are bringing something to the table, you'll easily be disappointed. So I knew that I needed to also be bringing something to the table. And the only thing I could was this knowledge. And so we finished the master's, and then I had my result, started struggling how to get a job so that I can start paying that, because I didn't pay a dime. And they were compounding it 20%. So by the time I was finishing the master, it has come to 1.5 million naira. And I needed to pay. So I went to Delta State Polytechnic Ozoro to get the job. They dribbled me. I went to this Delta State University, and then to get a job, they asked me, oh, that you have a distinction, very good in your master's. Go and get current. I borrowed money again, 250,000 naira. I did current to become a current registered engineer. I came back. They said, go and do NSC. I borrowed another money again to do NSC. I came back, they said, go and get PhD. So at that time, I knew they didn't want to take me, that they were dribbling me. So in tears, I was coming back to the house, and then bought down form for our last born, who had the first class in pharmacy. She's in the UK now. And then as I was filling the form, I saw Landmark University. And so I just went straight to Federal College, removed Delta State University there, copied the address in the jam brochure of Landmark University, and put it there. Went to Grand Hotel, Asaba here. There's a post office close to Grand Hotel, and posted with 100 naira. I didn't know where Landmark was. I didn't know where Ilori was, but I just needed a job to start paying my bill. And 2 months later, they called me for interview. The only interview I've ever had in this life to this date. And so when they called me, I was like, which is calling me? So I said, send the test people. I said, they sent me we went for the interview. We got there in the panel, professors were well seated, and then they started asking questions. I didn't know that the dean of engineering was a mechanic, and he said, how do you design a reservoir? And I said, Vice Chancellor, sir, this question is wrong. It would have been, how do you design a dam? Because when you design a dam, you have a reservoir in the upstream. And then it was used to exorbitant, so I won't do that kind of thing now. And so, and the man said, okay, now that you have reconstructed the question, answer it. So I now took them through the processes of dam design to get a reservoir. And then the man looked at them, he said, any other question? Because of the way I tackled that one, nobody asked the question again. And he looked at me in the face. He said, young man, when do you want to resume? And I said, give me 2 weeks, because I just married a brand new wife. You understand me? I just married a brand new wife. Just give me 2 weeks. Because then my wife had started schooling at Town, and Ilori was very far. And so they gave me 2 weeks. I didn't reach out to them. And they called me on phone and said, I must resume. So that was how I took my bag and my clothes. The day I was arranging my bag, I had a Ghana must go full of books, but my clothes was in a nylon bag. 2 trousers, 2 shirts, and my wedding shoe. In 2012, May 14, and I left for Landmark University. When I got to the gate, when they came to pick me, the man, when they saw the books, full Ghana must go, they said, where are your clothes? I said, this is the bag. They looked at me and they said, you must be a professor of book. That was in 2012. And life began. So what did I now do? My salary was 140,000 naira. So I started repatriating 70,000 naira back to the money lender. I repatriated it for a year. I was able to pay up. Then I bought my PhD from Uniben when I finished paying by 2013. And then they said, you need 10 years to do PhD in Uniben. I said, me, this money that I'm borrowing, 10 years, it's not possible now. We must finish it and go. And so we put our energy, put our interest, put our intellect into the work, and by 2 years and 6 months, I was done with the PhD of the civil engineering by December 2015. And when the interesting thing, because I'm emphasizing knowledge so that the students here would know. The interesting is that when I got it, I put the CV on the internet, and Delta State University now saw it. As at that time, they needed PhD holders in engineering for accreditation. I didn't even know that 2012, they were dribbling me. They had lost accreditation at NUC, and engineering was shutting down because they had not been re-accredited. And so they needed people behind me. They set up a committee to look for men who had PhD and good articles in engineering in the UK and in Nigeria. And one of those people saw the CV and called me. So I said I wasn't going to come, that I came here in 2012, 4 years ago, begging for AL, ordinary AL. And now people are begging me for SL. So I said I wasn't going to come. They said, okay, it's your state. Why don't you come? Assist us in accreditation as a consultant. We'll not pay you. Send your CV. So I sent my CV on a Saturday to be engaged as a consultant to help them prepare the path for accreditation. But on a Thursday, I was appointed senior lecturer without application, without interview. The same CV I sent to them for consultancy work, that's what they used to give me the appointment. And so that was how I resumed. And when I resumed, they said, come, once you resume, we'll make you HOD. And true to it, I resumed. I became the head of the department at the age of 33. And I was HOD from 33 to 36, ruling everybody in the department that had people my mother's age, people my father's age. I was chairman of the departmental academic board for 3 good years, and a member of Senate, and a younger member of Delta State University Senate. Now, as if that was not enough, when the 3 years was over, the day I left office as HOD, to tell you that knowledge is good, though, it's not what you can't do everything by prayer. That's why prayer without work is dead. Are you getting the understanding? You must pray as though you need only prayer, and you must walk as though you need only walk. It is a combination of the two of them that will give you product. And at the end of the day I left office as HOD was that I was appointed deputy director part-time and intensive program. And that one ran for 2 years. The day I left office as deputy director part-time and intensive program was the day I was appointed director of academic planning. And that one ran for 3 years. 2 weeks to the end of that one, I was made deputy vice chancellor academic. Is God not faithful? So I tell people, the question now is, who is my father? He's playing pool in Ibuzo. He divorced us many years ago. The world doesn't even know that he exists. It's just people like us that know that sends him money occasionally because we are forgiven as Christians. He didn't buy a pencil for me. He didn't buy a biro for me. He didn't even care. He didn't even pay us rent. Then who is my mother? NC holder that was struggling. But the question is, do I now look like the child of an NC holder? Most rich people, they want their children to be like me. I'm the model. They keep talking about me to their children. That's just the way it is. And do you know that at this level I am now, most people you respect in Delta State, in government, they call me on phone to do something for them. Are you getting the understanding? When the 3 new universities were to start, I was on my own like this, on my own in 2021, and I was called for the design, restructuring, and equipping of the 3 new universities. And yours faithfully was a sub-consultant for DOU, for Agbo, and for Zora, and we made so much money. I hope somebody's getting the point. This is that poor man's side, though. So that's why I say there is no way you can come in contact with me without perceiving the knowledge. But I settled down because the stage you are in now as a student is the stage of grooming yourself. You must build yourself. That's why I tell people, live your life according to the pattern that Jesus lived. Jesus Christ at age 12 was taken to the temple. In that temple, after the ministration, he dodged his parents. And after 3 days, when they saw him, Mary said, we look for you everywhere. Everywhere means where you should be as an age 12 child. In the house of your uncles, your parents, your uncles. But you were not there, not here in the temple. Asking questions and answering questions from doctors of law, from doctors of religion. Are you getting the idea? If you take that book of Luke down, the Bible said that because of that knowledge acquisition, the young child grew in stature, in knowledge, and in wisdom. And then he obtained favor from the sight of men and from the sight of God. And that's why I tell people, when you are knowledgeable, God will favor you, men will favor you. If you are a good physicist, people will know you. If you are good at economics, they will look for you. If you are good at accountancy, they will look for you. Don't just answer an accountant by certificate. No. That's where we miss it. Don't just say that you are an engineer in theory. No. You should know what you know. And people should know that you know it. Once that is done, you have any problem. As a matter of fact, today, that's why I can look at anybody in the face today and tell you what I want to tell you. Because there's no way hunger will kill me again. It's not possible. There's no way I can be homeless again in this life. There's no way I can be carless, homeless, or whatever. It's not possible. So when I'm relating with you, it's partnership. It must be symbiotic. I must know what you are bringing to the table, why I bring my own to the table. If not, even if you are the president of Nigeria, it doesn't concern me. After your tenure, you go. I continue with my life. Because at least I've reached a level where nobody can force me to tell lies to gain small things. Are you getting the understanding? So please, knowledge is important. Don't move to the next slide. Now, what are the 7 ways to position yourself? 7 ways to position yourself. Number 1, if you look at Matthew 6:33, it says, your greater qualification is not your certificate, it is your relationship with Christ. Daniel excelled because God was with him. Let me explain this one so that you understand. Because in all you do, you must bring God first. Are we getting the understanding? I remember that when I got admission into primary 1, First term was 28/30. Because I finished eating it, but I didn't know there was nothing like school. My mother chased me to school and forced the headmaster to register me, one Mr. Abua, so that I should be able to go to farm because she was farming. It was not like she wanted me to start school that time, so that I would not be a burden. So they put me down, I was behaving like a moron. So first term, 28/30. Second term, another guy, the dullest person I've ever seen in my life, joined us, so we became 31. I still maintain my 28, but this time around, out of 31. Third term, 25/31. Now, we failed, but they said the class cannot accommodate the new entrant and all the people that failed. So they said only 3 people should repeat. The rest should migrate to primary 2. So I was migrated, okay? So it means 31, 30, and 29 repeated. It continued like that. And what was the problem? I didn't know how to read and write, even at primary 5. So one day, we were going to stream, and I was lamenting and praying in my heart. I said, God, if you can teach me how to read and write, I will never copy anybody's answer, I will never cheat, and I will never fail an exam. And after that prayer, that solemn prayer, primary 5, my social studies note got missing. And you know, it don't say when your note get missing, you buy another one. So as I was recopying, I saw myself miraculously reading what I was writing. That Mungo Park died at Busa 4, a social studies note. And I shouted in the compound, I said, I can read. And everybody came, everybody was imagining that at primary 5 you couldn't read, but I knew what God did for me. So most of the time when I'm at crossroad, I call upon God. He gives inspiration. That's the truth of the matter. So while you are in school, that's not the time to flex. That's not the time to misbehave. That's not the time to start doing what your parents shouldn't, be happy about. It is the time for you to study and to know God so that you could become a full man. Because man is a tripartite being. Mind is a spirit, has a soul, and lives in a body. The body is immaterial. It is like house. The two most important components are the spiritual component and the soulish component. The school you are going to is for the soul, while knowing God is for the spirit. When the spirit is alive and the soul is alive, no matter how bad Nigeria is, you will survive. That's the truth of the matter. Okay, so let's go on. So you need to know God for yourself. Let's move on. Now, the next two is stop copying everybody. Not everyone is called to do medicine or to do law. You must know your purpose. While I was in school, I knew I was good at mathematics. I know I was good at physics and chemistry. So people told me to go and do medicine, okay, which I wanted to. But at the end, I discovered that I wasn't the kind of person who just cage in the hospital, to be given injection and doing all of those things. My kind of thing is I like out doing things, okay, that is not documented in the textbook, having challenges that are beyond what I know. So I said, no, I can't do this thing. So I opted for engineering. I told them which engineering is very challenging and very relevant to environment. They said civil engineering. I chose civil engineering and went into it. And today, I don't think the medical doctors are doing better than I am doing. I don't think the accountants are doing better than I'm doing. So otherwise, I have friends who are medical doctors that we support when they have challenges. So what am I trying to say? You must not do medicine because your friend is doing medicine. You must not do nursing. That's your area. Focus on it. Stop copying people. Because when you copy people, at the end of the day, after 10 years, they won't be there with you. And that's when you know that life has come upon you. So please, what is your area? What is your area of strength? Focus on it and do it well and know it well. Once you know it well, certainly, for instance, now we have 4 state universities in Delta State. We have 4 federal universities, that's not 8. And we have 6 private universities. 8 plus 6 is what? 14. All of them are looking for lecturers. I'm talking to you. But people are not qualified. Actually, all of them, they are looking for lecturers. In physiology, in anatomy, in economics, in accountancy, in everything. I remember in my church, I use somebody as an example. I know he's here. He had the first degree. He was looking for a job up and down. I told him, I said, why don't you go and do a master's? But if you do master's, it will help you with this course you have read, computer science. And he went and he did his master's. And today, I think where's Mr. Caleb? Is he here? Look at him there. Today is lecturer. Which school are you lecturing in? I just called him when we were in Jubilee. I said, you cannot do computer science. You are energetic, you are young, and you are saying you are looking for a job. I said, no, go back to school. Jobs are there, just that people are not well prepared. And today, he's lecturing. He's about finishing his PhD. And then when he gets that PhD, will my name be there? It won't be my name. So that's what we're talking about, that opportunities are there, but you need to upgrade yourself. Let's go on, so that I can just round up. Let's go on. So the studio. Is somebody still there? Okay, the third one now. pursue excellence in everything that you do. Like I said, if you pursue excellence, you'll be known. For instance, it's difficult now that you talk about any professor in any academic in this Delta State, and my name will not pop out. It's difficult for 2 or 3 people to gather and talk about education, and Hillary's name is not mentioned. It means they are discussing about business. They are discussing about selling paracetamol or selling Panadol. It's not education. If it is education, before you finish that sentence, my name will pop out. If you doubt it, try it tomorrow. Just gather 3 or 4 people and be discussing. So you must be known for your act. You must be known for excellence. Are you getting the understanding? When you are known for excellence, people will be looking for you. Okay? There was a lecture I delivered one time recently, and then they called me early in the morning. Somebody was looking for my number. And he now called me. He said I shouldn't be offended, that they have a program they're organizing, and then the former governor is going to be the chairman, and they went to him and told him who will be the keynote speaker. That he told them, if you would chair that occasion, it's Owamah that will speak. And they have done banners everywhere. So they now went and removed all the banners, started putting my name on my face so that he would chair the occasion for them. And that was how I became part of that occasion. I wasn't there when they were discussing. So that's what it means for you to be discovered. Let's go on and try to pursue excellence. Let's move on now. Build relevant skill. Now we have been taught about AI. What skill do you have? You cannot be in school today. We are now in the 4th industrial revolution. The first is gone, the second is gone, the third is gone. This 4th one talks about big data, talked about analytics, talks about AI. You cannot be in school today. You don't know how to operate ordinary Excel. You don't know even how to use Microsoft Word. You don't even know make use of AI up to this point in time. You don't know anything about, you are in final year. You don't know anything about data analysis. Student T-test, you don't know. ANOVA, you don't know. Chi-square, you don't know. You are studying education. You cannot develop ordinary questionnaire. You don't know 4 Likert scale system. You only copying project. You pick UNM project, copy, and then you submit and say you have graduated. In that case, you don't have any skill, and that would certainly give you problems. So at this level, you must imbibe some of these skills here. Above all, you must understand entrepreneurship in whatever that you are doing. And what's entrepreneurship? How do I make money from what I have read? Are you getting the understanding? How do I do what? How do I make money from what I have read? Let's go on. Number 5, say protect your character. Protect your character. Do you know that by the grace of God, I'm the chairman, student parent committee of my school. Some of the people will try, are church people who do examination malpractice. And I ask myself, how can you be in a fellowship and you are a leader and you are caught in examination malpractice, impugning on your integrity? And so one of the things you could do to be able to make it academically is that you must shun examination malpractice, shun internet fraud, shun courtism, shun drug abuse, and above all, sexual immorality. One problem we have today is that the rate of sexual immorality among students is the reason why their brain is covered with oil. I'm telling you, parents don't know. These people you are seeing in campus at night, they turn to lions. All these people are seeing are sheep. They are lions. So, and you cannot engage in sexual immorality and be intelligent. Because, do you know the reason? Intelligence is at the soul level. Sexual immorality and drive is at the soul level. So you cannot be feeding your soul with such food and at the same time have reservation for intelligence. Are you getting the understanding? And that's why, if you must do well, you must ensure that you run from all of these things. But when you talk sometimes, they don't hear. But at the end of the day, you see, a word is always enough for the wife. So many things always happen. We have had a lot of issues. We've handled a lot. And then you see somebody who is very intelligent at the end of the day, even being rusticated because of all of these issues. Let's go on. Now, build a healthy relationship. And I begin to ask another question. I just sent a message to somebody and I said, what is your Facebook handle? He says she's not on Facebook. What is your LinkedIn handle? He says he's not on LinkedIn. And this person is on first class, in a department in my school. And I said, And she replied me he said, Prof, why How can you be a final year student? You are not on LinkedIn, you are not on Facebook, you are not on anything, you are not relating with people. You are studying economics, you don't even know economics student in Uniben, you don't know economics student in UNN, you don't even know the ones in Delsu while you are in DOU. And so you are not building a network, because at the end of the day, your network matters a lot by the time you have graduated. And this is the time for you to begin to build such influence to be able to help you build a healthy relationship. Let's go on. Number 7 is pray and prepare. These two must work together. I've mentioned it before. Move on, please. Now, we've talked about artificial intelligence. I won't talk about it again. You must know how to engage artificial intelligence. Let's go on, sir. Let's go on. Now, practical advice to students. Number one, you must read daily. That's where the problem comes. When I was active as a student, there was no day that I read, and I say the truth, less than 10 hours. Truth, when I was doing my PhD, my reading was like 14, 13 hours. When I said I finished my PhD in 2 years plus, it was not because manna fell from heaven. Are you getting the understanding? Now the question is, how can you be a student? You cannot even read for 2 hours a day. If you don't read, there's no way you will know. Knowledge comes from studying. And so, as a student, you must learn how to study, pray daily, develop one new skill every year. Somebody will say, how can you read for 10 hours? Okay, when you wake up 4 a.m. and you start reading, and you read from that 4 a.m. till 12 noon, how many hours does it give you? Is that not 8 hours? Then at night you read again, then you get it. And so you must have respect for parents, respect for authority. I want to draw the curtain. And then you must know that your name is your greatest brand. Let's go on. Now, the next one is biblical examples. We've talked about Joseph, Daniel, Esther, Daniel, and Timothy. Can we go on? Now, 7 things every young person must avoid: laziness, procrastination, wrong association, sexual immorality, drug abuse. Now, the major problem is that so many students are not into drug abuse. Many, and parents don't even know. So these things must be avoided for you to be able to do the best you can do in life. Let's go on. Now, let's go on. Move to the next slide. I want to round up. Now, before I conclude, let me say this: that if you look at the people you try to emulate, especially people on social media, I now discovered that young people now prefer celebrities to role models. There's a difference between celebrity and role model. And some of these celebrities are even yeye British because they represent nothing. Okay? When I was doing my master's, what actually informed me to get a distinction was that I had 3 biographies that I studied personally. I studied the biography of Professor Pat Utomi, I studied the biography of Professor Chukwuma Soludo, and I studied the biography, of my then Vice Chancellor. When I read through and saw that all of them got their PhD in their late 20s and early 30s, I told myself I will also get my own within that time. And so all I needed to do was to do the work to be able to get the kind of result that they got. When I also discovered that they became a professor at 39, 40, I told myself, when I've not started lecturing, that at most 40, I must hit professorship. And God is always faithful. Okay, so what am I trying to say? You must have role model. Who are your role model? Your role model must be person who represent that dream you want to achieve in the future. And then follow up, read their biography, so at the end of the day, the word doesn't knock you off. Because in as much as you are a Nigerian, you are already disadvantaged. Once you are born in this country, the guy that attended told us you're already disadvantaged compared with your mates abroad. Now you cannot be in that disadvantage and continue to further disadvantage yourself. You must wake up to do the needful, read your books, make sure that you know what you are being taught. Make sure also that you do what we call internship. You cannot have a holiday of 3 months, and for that 3 months, you are busy sleeping at home. If you're a civil engineer, attach yourself to a contractor. If you're a medical student, attach yourself to a hospital for free of charge. That's how I will learn our own. There was no holiday that I did not attach myself to a contractor. In fact, in year 2, it was a bricklayer. But he was very good, and I was following him. He was not giving me money. And then that was when I learned the basic things about clearing of site and setting. And today, I'm not a bricklayer. I'm a civil engineer. Is that not so? But I learned a lot from that bricklayer. We got holiday for a 3rd year, the same thing, okay? And you can imagine that somebody is going on IT, you would prefer to be at home and tell lies that you are doing IT, get people to fill your form and you submit, and you think it is your parents that you are doing. In the end, how many years will your parents live? My mother has gone, and I'm still here. If I had been living my life to punish my mother, it would be on me by now. So these parents, by the time you graduate and start working, your mother would have been at least 60. If your mother is 60 and she's going to die at 70, she has 10 more years. If she's going to die at 80, you have 20 more years. So everything you do it for yourself. And that's why we say, if you do well, it is for your own good. If you do not do well, it's also what? For your own loss. So make up your mind today that you are going to be the very best in that your class in DOU, be the best in that your class in Delso, or wherever that you are, and not only being the best, you are going to imbibe the practical aspect of what you are doing. You will be of very good character, so that at the end of the day, Redeemed Christian Church of God can be proud of you. Is it what Will it look bad that they are doing convocation in Anwan and they say the beg student is from the Christian Church of God and all of us come to celebrate you? Please, let us put on a new leaf, try to do the best we can do, and know that academic is the very best way that we can come out of this excruciating poverty. Because the final bottom point is that the children of the rich do not go to school so much. And so if you, as a poor man child, can school beyond their level, when opportunity comes, because their child cannot fill up that position, they will look for you. That's what happened to me in Delsu. When that opportunity came, their children hadn't a PhD in civil engineering, and they needed a PhD by NUC instruction, and so they had to look for people. Okay, when this DVC ship came, also the same thing. Because if you are at the same level of educational achievement with the children of the rich, then you are in trouble. Because when opportunity comes and you have what their children have, naturally they will feud their children. But the opportunities I've ever had in this life are opportunity beyond the reach of this person. So they look for me and plead that I should fill up this space. Are you getting the understanding? And so that's why you need to upscale, so that when you are at that height, they will continue to call you on the phone to fill up a space that their children have not been able to get the attainment for. Is that well understood? But thinking that you don't finish with this your 2-2 in physiology, you go to suffer for Nigeria, or third class in economics, and you are comfortable with it, you go to suffer for the country. So this is my conclusion. I don't want to read it. Conclusion, when you go back to school, put on a new leaf, know that your parents need you to change their status. You need to break the poverty genes so that at the end of the day, things can become better for your family. It is on this note that I want to drop the microphone and thank every one of us for listening very attentively. And I pray that God is infinite mercy will help us to attain excellence and utilize the opportunity. In Jesus' mighty name, we have prayed.